I'm Mr. Peaky, and this is Peakys Politics. A couple of weeks ago, 12 months into a pandemic, the government decided to introduce testing at airports. Couldn't believe it. I thought it had already been, it was just common sense that was already taking place, but no. They employ these people, like 150, 200 grand a year, to come up with these solutions. Takes them 12, 18 months. But they're too clever for their own good. They ain't got a clue. And so anyway, I went to Spain, Tenerife, June. When we landed at the airport, temperature was taken, test and trace filled out. They knew the score then. We weren't even doing temperatures. It's unreal. After 5 weeks, when I flew home, Ryanair booked in, dirt cheap. Didn't pay the extra for the baggage to go into the hold, just had like on my back. Didn't pay the extra to book a particular seat and all that. So anyway, goes to the airport, Tenerife South. Masks, social distancing, hardly anyone there. Through customs, waits for the plane, checking in, departure lounge, blah blah blah. Gets on the plane, you can't remove your mask. So anyway, like I say, I hadn't paid no extra for a seat or anything. The plane was down as full. There was about 40 of us and about 120, 130 seater plane. Due to the social distancing caused by coronavirus, we had to keep our masks on. Anyway, it took me back seat, all to myself, leather, the works, and I hadn't paid extra for it. I was buzzing when I got the back seat. You know, I've never heard of an airplane reversing into a mountain. Anyway, on the plane, I say, masked up, social distancing, the whole shaboodle. Captain comes on. There's life vest under your seat in case we have to ditch into the sea. Jesus Christ, we're flying up over Spain, France, cross like 20, 30 miles in the Channel, and up the middle of England. Lifebelt, Jesus, man, need a parachute, not a life. Anyway, landing at Manchester. Gets off the plane, social distancing, all masked up. Goes to get through customs. Have you filled in the government's test and trace on the on the website? First I've heard of it. Sorry, I've never heard of it. What's it? Oh, you should be looking at government gov.uk.com whatever on online, and you know you got to fill this in online before you can pass through the airport. Well, I'd been out of the country for 5 weeks. I said, I don't look at the government website, not, you know, it's hardly top of my list. So anyway, I said, right, you got to, before you can leave the airport, you got to fill one of these forms in, online. I ain't got no bleeding credit, I'd got no internet, I'd just gone back from Spain, Canary Islands, so it was like switch over of networks, etc, etc, I couldn't. So like, I got to see one of the customer service advisors. Hey ho, I'm not the only one. The rest of the flight comes over, none of them had filled it in either. So, after being masked up, social distanced from Spain, on the airplane, lands at Manchester, everyone's mixing. Trying to get his forms filled in, they're trying to help us all. No masks now, everyone's breathing on everyone. Next thing I know, there's about 200 or 300 people walking over. Flight from Valencia, just landed. Same problem. None of them had filled the form in, knew nothing about it. No masks, just bunched up. Oh, Christ, man, it was like a herd of cows. So we've social distanced and masked up all the way from Spain. We've landed here. Government's introduced a new policy. Obviously it's working. We're all breathing over each other, spitting on each other, talking to each other. Cut a long story short, fills this form in online with the help of one of the customer services. And some test and try saying, how long are you going to stay in the country? I said, excuse me, I'm a British citizen. Do you mean how long am I staying in the country? I live here. How long? Where are you going to stay? I'm going to stay where I live. I live here. Unreal. Absolute joke. Anyway, back to the original thing. Recently, the government's decided to introduce testing at airports. I thought, obviously, like, I'd applied common sense to it, so like I'm wrong. There was a big. This is something they've been doing since last March, last February, whatever. 12 months into a global pandemic, and they've just decided that we're going to test people at airports to see if they've got the coronavirus. Move on a week or two, maybe 3. And now there's this new variant, the South African variant. Even though it's already been traced into this country, we've decided we're going to put certain countries with these dodgy variants or maybe something coming new onto a red list. And people flying in from them countries have to go into 10 days quarantine. 10 days in a hotel. 1,750 quid. 1,175 quid a night. Jesus wept. I got a spare room. I'll let them stay there for 150 quid a night. You know, I don't mind. And I'll tell you what, if you take a look at my dog, he's making sure no one's coming out that room. They'd certainly be quarantined. Because they won't take one step out that door. Not a bleeding chance. So anyway, things which most people would have just took for granted. You cannot take for granted. The government are just too clever for their own good. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but that's the way it is. So anyway, 1,750 quid for 10 nights, coming from red countries. These are the ones with the new variants. And should they happen to come via a third country and keep it secret and not say to the customs, I'm from South Africa, but I've come via Dubai, then possibly 10 years in prison. 10 years in prison. What, they want to infect all the prisoners, give them coronavirus and they all die off and, like, you know, solve the crime in the country. But besides the point, let's see how many get 10 months, let alone 10 years, if they're found out to be bypassing the system or trying to bypass the system. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Why don't they just ban all foreign travel, apart from lorry drivers delivering freight? Because at the end of the day, they can stay in the cab if they need to, they can be tested, you can stay isolated in the cab, detect the freight, come back, vice versa, whatever. But businessmen flying for meetings, no, shut the bleeding borders. What's the point? They can use that Zoom or video call or whatever in this day and age. They don't need to fly to another country, spread the coronavirus just because they need to have a meeting with someone. Talk on the phone, do a video call, use that Zoom, or if there's other likewise products available, use them. But Jesus, mate. I'll give up. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Mr.Peakys. This is Peakys Politics. Subscribe if you want to see more or hear more. And remember, politics. It's all a load of politics.